Front and Center. Front and Center. A focus on important and significant developments affecting the lives of Filipinos, not only in the Philippines, but also those living and working around the world. Join us in Front and Center. Front and Center. Here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service.
Welcome to Front and Center, where we focus on developments in the Philippines, legislation that provides policies and directions that strives to promote a better economy for the country, issues that concern the welfare and well-being of every Filipino. All of these and more will be Front and Center. And you can watch this program on our Facebook page and also on our YouTube channel. That's Radyo Pilipinas World Service. And you can hear this broadcast through our audio streaming at Evox PBS receiver app. And you can hear this broadcast as well on our shortwave radio through the following frequencies. That's 12.020 megahertz, 15.640 megahertz, and 17.665 megahertz. And this is your host, Jerome Toledo. Let's begin Front and Center here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service.
Front and Center. Front and Center. Here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service.
The Bicameral Conference Committee through House Appropriations Chairperson Representative Mika Swansing proposes 1 billion peso fund for Project NOAA, or it stands as a nationwide operational assessment of hazards in 2026 national budget. Representative Swansing said that it intends to fund the project to help design flood control projects of the Department of Public Works and Highways. And the lawmaker wanted to see improvement on the flood control measures through the funding. And as mentioned, Project NOAA was created in 2012 by the Department of Science and Technology, or DOST, in the aftermath of Typhoon Sendong to respond to the call of the then President Benigno S. Aquino III for a more accurate, integrated, and responsive disaster prevention and mitigation system, especially in high-risk areas throughout the Philippines. And in 2017, Project NOAA of the DOST has been transferred to the University of the Philippines through its Resilience Institute, which was established on the same year after the project got defunded due to alleged lack of funds. From there, its scientific work continued under the new management, and it was credited on saving lives and property through its disaster hazard mapping. And to provide us his reaction on the proposed budget, 1 billion peso budget of this project, which was spearheaded by Representative Mika Swansing. So we now have on the line the Executive Director of Project NOAA, none other than Dr. Mahar Lagmay. Good morning, Dr. Lagmay. Thank you so much for joining us in the program, Front and Center on Radyo Pilipinas World Service.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
I'm driving, so
yeah.
I might not be able to answer that well, but
Yeah.
I'll try to concentrate.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
All right, no
I'm
problem.
Anyway.
All right. Anyway, so as early as 2020, but before we go to the to your reaction on the proposed 1 billion peso budget that was proposed by Representative Mika Swansing. As early as 2020, Senator Francis Kiko Pangilinan has called for revival of Project NOAA to reduce the disaster risk and possible loss of lives and properties. And also, back in 2017, according to your statement, the work is not yet done. And you mentioned that year, Dr. Lagmay, that the country's flood maps or about 60% of the country's flood maps were completed. And in the next year's budget cycle, Project NOAA will be funded as pushed by Representatives Swansing and Javi Benitez. So what are your thoughts on our lawmakers seeing the capability of the Project NOAA, Dr. Lagmay?
Yes, of course, there's a lot of work that to be done. Disasters unfold in many ways, and you only learn about the lessons that happen. So the work really is never ending. There's always something to learn. There are new technologies out there coming not just from the Philippines, but elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
There's always new science, new discoveries,
Mm-hmm.
reduction efforts in the country.
Mm.
Of course, the Filipinos deserve the very best in terms of the scientific outputs
Mhm.
that we can give to them. That's because we want to save lives and we want to save property.
Mhm.
In terms of my reaction to the 1 billion, of course, that's most welcome.
Mhm.
The reason for that is because we know that UP, with all of its faculty members, the expertise, not just in UP Diliman, but in the different constituent units, we have a lot to offer
Mhm.
to improve our disaster risk reduction efforts. We have a lot to offer in terms of innovation
Mhm.
that help our government address our problem regarding disaster risk reduction.
Mhm.
That 1 billion will go a long way, I think,
Mhm.
because it's not just enough to identify the hazards. If we are to use science, we use science in identifying hazards. We have to identify also the necessary interventions, and we need science for that as well. And the interventions come not just for building dikes, for engineering. It
Mhm.
also applies to using science to be able to find the appropriate interventions across all sectors.
Mhm.
That means that we need to find the interventions for agriculture, for
Mhm.
forestry, for infrastructure, for energy, for tourism as well.
Right.
I'm talking about all sectors. We
Yeah.
need to have science there if we are to always say a science-based approach.
Mhm.
It's not just using science to identify the hazards, the flood hazard areas, but also the necessary interventions. And
Uh-huh.
UP has a lot to offer in that field.
And Dr. Lagmay, the Department of Public Works and Highways will now use the Project NOAA to determine which areas that they will be building their or flood control infrastructures. So what can the Project NOAA can offer to the DPWH?
Well, the request was to help them with their analysis on whether the dike structures are going to work or not.
Mm.
And what we can do, because we've been doing that since 2012,
Yeah.
we are doing probabilistic risk mapping for different return periods. That means that we not only just identify the magnitude of the flood,
Mm.
but also identify how often they happen.
Mm.
There are some floods that are frequent, that are small, and there are floods that are big, which are rare.
Mhm.
That means that we have to create scenarios using simulations
Mhm.
via the use of computers, using the laws of physics, mathematical equations, and be able to simulate scenarios
Mhm.
so that before we invest in some kind of intervention like a dike, we know
Mhm.
whether that intervention will work or not. And also we can probably identify other means, other more innovative ways of addressing the flood problem.
Mhm.
Like, for example, nature-based solutions.
Mm.
The dike solution is just one. There are many other interventions that we can make that can be more effective if put together. Like,
Mhm.
for example, restoring the trees in the
Mm.
forest.
Right. Right.
That can reduce in one study, if we are dealing with 11 million cubic meters of water,
Mhm.
just restoring it to 1990 levels would reduce it by 1 million cubic meters.
Mhm.
That means that there'll still be a flood. There'll still be floods because we're still dealing with 10 million cubic meters.
Mhm.
That means that we can find other solutions like retention basins,
Yeah.
detention basins, trying to make room for the river,
Yeah.
urban planning. I can probably name about more than 15 possible interventions that can complement each other, such that come the time when the floods reach the low-lying areas, we would have already reduced the flooding in that area, and the dikes that we will build there as a last resort, as what we call as residual risk interventions.
Right.
They will work better because the floods have been reduced already.
All right, and all right, that's good to know that, and that you mentioned that about the nature-based solutions, such as planting trees to areas where trees were being cut, and also dredging our rivers, and at the same time implementing water impounding. Projects so that the flooding, the risk of flooding will be minimized, and that's a good point, Dr. Lagmay. And then, okay, I'm moving to my next question because I mentioned about the completion rate of the country's flood maps. I mentioned earlier about the country's flood maps is about 60% in 2017. Where are we now? At this point, Dr. Lagmay?
It's probably about maybe 70%. But with that 1 billion funding, we can update the maps and we can complete the remaining ones that still need to be done.
And